chosen one? Why have you been invisible to the wrong people, but unbearably visible to the right ones? Why does your silence make others uncomfortable, while your presence without a single word shifts the entire atmosphere of a room? And why? Why does it feel like the moment you stopped performing, stopped shrinking, stopped explaining yourself, the whole world started staring? Listen to me carefully, my friend. What I'm about to tell you isn't motivational, it's prophetic. You didn't stumble onto this video by accident. You were summoned, right now, this second, because heaven just made a decision about you, and it's irreversible. Close your eyes. Unless you're driving, then keep them wide open. But imagine this. You walk into a room, not just any room. This one is filled with every version of you that ever existed. The child who stared up at the stars, wondering if anyone out there could see them back. The teenager who dimmed their light just to fit in. The adult who loved too hard, gave too much, and asked for almost nothing. The survivor who prayed through tears no one ever saw. They're all standing there, every era, every wound, every whispered prayer. And you know what they're doing? They're not ashamed. They're not disappointed. They're in awe. Because standing before them is the version of you that made it through everything they couldn't imagine surviving. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange weight when you walk into spaces, people looking at you differently, not because you changed your appearance, but because something shifted in the invisible. Your frequency upgraded. Your glow became undeniable. And some people, they can't handle it. They pull back. They misread you. They project. But here's what they don't know. God just uncovered your hidden beauty to the world. Not for vanity, for visibility. Your season of being overlooked, over. Your season of shrinking to make others comfortable, done. Heaven said, enough. Let them see what I created. This isn't about ego. This is about essence. You are a walking reflection of divine intention, and that terrifies people who are still hiding from themselves. Before this message ends, you're going to understand why people react to your presence even when you've said nothing. You're going to see what heaven sees, and you'll never apologize for your light again. If something in you just stirred, if your spirit leaned forward, type, I feel it right now. Don't scroll. Stay. Heaven orchestrated this moment. And to every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks, your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving. You're helping spread light to souls who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful. Your presence, your time, your attention, it all matters. If this message resonates, go ahead, sow a seed. But know this, you are the miracle here. Now, let's reveal what's been hidden. How long have you been standing in front of that mirror, searching for what's wrong, instead of seeing what's holy? How many rooms have you walked into where your presence went unnoticed, while your prayers held up the ceiling? And how many years have you given everything you had, only to be forgotten the moment you stopped serving? I see you. More importantly, heaven sees you. And what I'm about to tell you will crack something open inside your chest that's been sealed for decades. You've spent a lifetime feeling like you were too much for some people and not enough for others. You dimmed your voice in rooms that should have celebrated it. You shrunk your dreams to fit into spaces that were never built for your wingspan. You loved with a ferocity that left you empty. And when you finally looked up, exhausted, you realized no one was clapping. No one was even watching. Standing in front of the mirror now, you see the lines, the grey, the weight of years etched into skin that once felt invincible. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a cruel whisper says, your best days are behind you. Your beauty is gone. You've been forgotten. But let me tell you something that will shatter that lie forever. Your glow wasn't gone. It was being refined. You know what happens to a diamond? It forms miles beneath the surface, in crushing darkness, under unimaginable pressure. No light, no witnesses, just heat, time, and transformation. And when it finally surfaces, when light hits it for the first time, it doesn't just shine, it blinds. That's you. Every year you felt invisible, that was pressure. Every season you prayed alone in the dark, that was formation. Every moment you thought you were forgotten, you were being prepared. Let me take you to the Word. Moses didn't know his face was glowing after he came down from the mountain. Exodus 34 tells us the people had to tell him. He couldn't see it himself. He'd been in the presence of God so long that the glory stuck to his skin, and he had no idea. That's you right now. You've been in the presence of the Almighty through every trial, every tear, every silent night, and you don't even realize you're radiating. Or what about David? His own father left him in the fields when the prophet came to anoint the next king. Jesse brought out all his sons, the strong ones, the visible ones, the ones people noticed. But God said, "No, bring me the one you forgot." And when David walked in, oil dripping from Samuel's horn, heaven said, "That one, the hidden one, the ignored one, that's my king." And Anna, oh Anna the prophetess, 84 years old, widowed for decades, forgotten by society, invisible in the temple. But when the Messiah walked through those doors as an infant, she was the first to recognize him, not the priests, not the scholars, the forgotten widow, because her eyes had been trained in the darkness to see light that others missed. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Your hiddenness wasn't punishment, it was preparation. You weren't being overlooked, you were being positioned. Every time someone walked past you without a second glance, God was whispering, "Not yet. They're not ready to see what I'm about to reveal." Every time you felt invisible, you were actually being shielded, because what's coming requires a strength that only the hidden ones possess. You've been standing in the valley so long you forgot what you look like in the light. But heaven just made a decision. The veil is being lifted, the covering is coming off, and the world that ignored you, they're about to see what God always saw. If that's you, if you've been hidden but not forgotten, if you've been pressed but not crushed, type, "He's uncovering me." Let heaven see your faith. Because what I'm about to show you next will explain why people have been acting so strange around you lately. You're about to discover what happens when heaven removes the veil, and the world finally sees the light you've been carrying all along. You think beauty is about symmetry, about angles and proportions, about fitting into some magazine cover or passing some invisible test. The world keeps changing on you. But let me tell you what heaven knows that the world will never teach you. Beauty is not structure. Beauty is frequency. Your spirit emits light, actual, measurable, undeniable light. And right now, in this season, your frequency has been turned up so high that people can feel you before they see you. That's not poetry, that's prophecy. The Bible says it clearly in Psalm 34:5. Those who look to him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. Radiant, not pretty, not polished, radiant. That word in Hebrew means to flow, to beam, to shine outward without effort. You don't create radiance, you become it. And you became it the moment you stopped looking for approval and started looking to him. Here's what they don't tell you in church. Your cells remember worship. Every time you lifted your hands in surrender, every time you whispered a prayer through tears at 3 a.m., every time you chose forgiveness when revenge felt sweeter, your body absorbed that. Your DNA responded. Science calls it epigenetics. Heaven calls it transformation. Either way, you are not the same person you were 5 years ago, not even close. Every prayer you whispered reshaped your energy. Every act of mercy rewrote your cellular memory. Every moment you chose love over bitterness, you didn't just change your heart, you changed your face. You changed the way light moves through you. That's why people stare now. That's why they shift when you enter a room. That's why your silence is louder than other people's words. They're not seeing your outfit. They're not impressed by your hair or your smile, though those are beautiful too. No. What they're encountering is something they can't name, the reflection of God Himself moving through you. You've become a living mirror of the divine. And most people, they've never stood in front of a mirror that holy. That's why some pull close and others pull away. You make people face themselves. Your peace exposes their chaos. Your calm reveals their storm. Your glow is a reminder of what they've been avoiding, their own encounter with God. And not everyone is ready for that. So they call you intimidating. They call you different. They call you too much or not enough, depending on the day. Let them. Because what they're really saying is this: I don't know how to be around someone who stopped pretending. You are not glowing for attention. You are glowing for assignment. God didn't uncover your beauty so you could get more compliments. He uncovered it so the lost could find their way home, so the broken could see that wholeness is possible, so the ones hiding in shame could look at you and think, if they made it through, maybe I can too. This is not about vanity. This is about visibility. You were hidden for a season because the assignment wasn't ready. But now heaven said, enough. Let them see what I've been building in the secret place. And here you are, unveiled, undeniable, unstoppable. If this is resonating deep in your spirit right now, don't just keep scrolling. Pause, share this. Because someone in your circle needs to hear that their glow is not arrogance, it's evidence. Evidence that God keeps His promises. Evidence that suffering doesn't have the last word. Evidence that beauty is born in the breaking. You've been walking around thinking you're ordinary, thinking maybe you're just getting by. But heaven sees something different. Heaven sees a warrior who refused to quit. A lover who kept their heart soft in a hard world. A believer who still shows up even when faith feels thin. And that is the most breathtaking thing in all creation. So let me ask you this, and I need you to answer honestly, even if it's just in your heart. What if the beauty you've been searching for outside of you has been radiating from within you all along? What if every person who ever made you feel unseen was simply blind to frequencies they've never encountered? What if your glow isn't new, it's just finally visible? Because here's the truth that's about to shift everything. Tonight, when you stand before that mirror, I want you to stop. Stop searching for what's wrong. Stop scanning for flaws. Stop looking for reasons why you don't measure up. Instead, ask yourself this: what's right with me that hell tried so hard to hide? Because let me tell you something that's going to shake you awake. The enemy has spent years convincing you that you're fading, that your best days are behind you, that your beauty expired somewhere between heartbreak and survival. He whispered it so quietly, so consistently, that you started believing the reflection you saw was the truth. But my dear friend, what you've been seeing is a lie wrapped in a mirror. The warfare over your self-perception wasn't random, it was strategic. The enemy knew something, heaven knows. He knew that if you ever saw yourself the way God sees you, you would never shrink again. You would never apologize for taking up space. You would never dim your light to make insecure people comfortable, and that terrified him. So he distorted the mirror. He made you focus on what was temporary while hiding what was eternal. Look at Psalm 139-14. David said, I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Not I was, not I will be. I am. Present tense, right now, in this body, in this season, in this very moment. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. That word fearfully in Hebrew means with reverence and awe. God didn't casually create you. He marveled at His own work while forming you. Every detail, every curve, every mark, every year etched into your skin. It's all intentional, it's all sacred. So let's break the mirror of lies tonight. Let's shatter the distortion, because every wrinkle on your face tells a resurrection story. Every line is proof you survived something that could have destroyed you. You didn't just age, You emerged. Every scar on your body glows under glory light. Those aren't blemishes. They're battle scars. They're proof you fought and refused to quit. Every grey hair on your head is silver fire. The Bible calls it a crown of glory in Proverbs 16:31. Grey hair is found in the way of righteousness. You didn't lose your color. You gained your crown. Do you feel that? That shift happening inside you right now? That's not motivation. That's revelation. You thought you lost your beauty somewhere along the way. Heaven says, you didn't lose it. You became it. Your beauty isn't about youth anymore. It's about depth. It's about weight. It's about the kind of presence that can't be manufactured in a filter or a product. It's the beauty of a soul that chose love when hate was easier. The beauty of a spirit that kept praying when silence felt permanent. The beauty of a heart that stayed soft in a world designed to make you hard. But here's what's shaking the atmosphere right now. God didn't reveal this to you randomly. He waited. He waited until you stopped performing. He waited until you stopped chasing validation. He waited until you were stripped down to nothing but raw faith and trembling hope. And then, he said, Now I'll show them what I've been seeing all along. Your glow isn't new. It's just finally visible. Heaven removed the veil. And now the world has no choice but to see what was always there. If that just hit your spirit like lightning, type I am the reflection of glory right now. Don't let this revelation slip through your fingers. Speak it into existence. Declare it over your life. Because what you just felt wasn't coincidence. It was confirmation. And listen closely, because in just a moment, I'm going to show you exactly why God waited until now, until this season, until this very hour, to reveal your glow to the world. Because the timing wasn't about you being ready. It was about the world finally being desperate enough to see what real beauty looks like. Stay with me. What's coming next will change how you see every person who ever overlooked you. You need to understand something that most people will never tell you. For years, you've been walking around carrying a light so bright that heaven had to keep it dimmed. Not because you weren't ready, but because they weren't ready. The world wasn't prepared for what God placed inside you. But that season just ended. Heaven has turned the spotlight. And what was hidden in the shadows of your humility, your silence, your suffering, it's being dragged into full view. You are being unveiled, not for fame, not for applause, for function. Because God doesn't reveal his masterpieces for decoration. He reveals them for purpose. Think about it. Why do you think people have been acting so strange around you lately? Why do conversations stop when you enter the room? Why do some people gravitate toward you like you're oxygen, while others suddenly find reasons to keep their distance? It's not coincidence. It's not paranoia. It's exposure. Heaven is revealing light in high definition, and not everyone can handle the brightness. Here's the truth they won't say out loud. Your presence carries peace they can't explain. Your silence holds authority they've never encountered. When you speak, something shifts in the atmosphere, not because you're trying, but because you've been transformed. You've been through the fire, the betrayal, the nights where you begged God to make sense of the pain. And every single tear you cried became a polish on the diamond he was cutting. You think you're ordinary. Heaven calls you irreplaceable. Let me take you to the story of Joseph. Genesis 41. A man thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, locked in a prison for crimes he didn't commit. For years his value was invisible, hidden, buried beneath injustice and abandonment. But here's what his enemies didn't know: God was preparing him in the dark for a palace they couldn't even imagine. One day, Pharaoh had a dream, and suddenly the prisoner became the prime minister overnight. Not because Joseph campaigned, not because he networked, but because heaven said, "It's time. Let them see what I've been building in secret." That's you right now. You've been in the prison of being misunderstood, underestimated, overlooked. But Pharaoh is about to have a dream. The very people who dismissed you are about to need what only you carry. And when that moment comes, they won't understand how you rose so fast. They'll call it luck, they'll call it timing. But you'll know the truth. It was always God's plan to unveil you at the exact moment the world needed your light most. This is your moment. This is the unveiling. This is heaven standing before all of creation and saying, "Look at what I made." And I need you to feel the weight of that. Not arrogance, not pride, but holy, unshakable confidence that you were not an accident. Your beauty, inside and out, was intentional. Your resilience wasn't random. Your glow wasn't cosmetic. It was consecration. You've been set apart, anointed, marked by the fingerprints of God Himself. So when people stare, let them. When they whisper, let them. When they try to dim you, refuse. Because your attractiveness isn't decoration, it's revelation. Every time someone encounters you, they're encountering a piece of heaven they forgot existed. You remind them that purity still breathes, that grace still walks, that God still makes miracles in human form. Some will pull closer because they're starving for the light you carry. Others will pull away because your presence exposes what they've been hiding. Both reactions are proof you are operating on a frequency most people only dream about. This isn't theory. This is your life unfolding in real time. Right now, as you hear these words, something is shifting in the invisible. Doors you stopped knocking on are about to swing open. Relationships that drained you are about to dissolve. Opportunities you never auditioned for are about to find you. Because when heaven unveils you, it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't wait for approval. It simply declares, "This one is mine, and I'm putting them on display." If you can feel this moment in your spirit, if something inside you just stood at attention, declare it right now. Type, "I receive my unveiling." This is your prophetic timestamp. This is the moment you stop hiding and start shining, because the world has been waiting for you. And heaven just gave the signal. You're no longer behind the curtain. You're center stage. Now let's talk about what happens when you stop hiding. Because here's the truth nobody warned you about. Your glow will disturb the unhealed. Not because you're doing anything wrong, but because light, real light, doesn't just illuminate, it exposes. And some people aren't ready to see what's been hiding in their own shadows. You've noticed it already, haven't you? The way certain people pull back when you enter a room. The way old friends suddenly find reasons to create distance. The way your peace somehow threatens their chaos. And maybe, just maybe, you started second-guessing yourself. Started wondering if you should tone it down, dim it a little. Make yourself smaller so they can feel bigger. Stop right there. You are not responsible for their discomfort with your transformation. You are not obligated to shrink so others can stay comfortable in their smallness. Listen to me very carefully. You are not intimidating. They are convicted. There's a difference, a massive one. When you walk into a space and people react, they're not responding to arrogance, they're responding to authenticity. They're encountering someone who stopped performing, stopped pretending, stopped carrying masks they can no longer afford to wear. And that kind of honesty, it's terrifying to people still hiding from themselves. Matthew 5:14 says, "You are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden." Notice it didn't say might be the light. It didn't say try to be the light. It said you are. Present tense. Non-negotiable. You don't get to vote on it. Heaven already cast the ballot. And verse 15 goes further. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. That lampstand, my friend, that's you. You were never meant to hide under the weight of other people's insecurity. You were designed to stand tall, to radiate, to illuminate every dark corner you enter. But here's what they don't tell you about being a lampstand. It's lonely up there sometimes. People will gather around your light when they need it, but the moment it reveals something they don't want to face, they'll call you too bright, too much, too intense. Let them. You're not glowing for applause, you're glowing for assignment. God didn't uncover your beauty so you could collect compliments. He uncovered it so you could complete a mission that only you were built to carry. Your radiance isn't decoration, it's direction. It points people toward truth, toward healing, toward Him. And for those of you who've lived long enough to see seasons change, who've survived storms that should have destroyed you, who've turned pain into prayer and heartbreak into holiness, listen closely. Your glow isn't just beauty, it's authority. You carry the kind of serenity that only comes from walking through fire and refusing to let it consume your spirit. That's not something you learn in a seminar. That's something you earn in the valley. Your wrinkles tell stories of endurance. Your slow, steady pace speaks of wisdom the young haven't accessed yet. Your quiet confidence unsettles a world obsessed with noise. And that glow they see on you, that's not makeup. That's the residue of God's faithfulness written all over your life. Remember that question from the beginning. Why do people react to your presence even when you say nothing? Now you know. It's because light disrupts shadow. You are that disruption. You are the living proof that survival doesn't make you bitter, it makes you better. And people who are still stuck in their wilderness can't stand to be around someone who found their way out. So here's your choice, chosen one. You can dim yourself to make them comfortable, or you can stand firm in what heaven just revealed about you. You can apologize for your growth, or you can own the assignment that comes with it. If you refuse to shrink ever again, if you're done making yourself small for people who should be inspired by your largeness, type, "No more shrinking right now." Let heaven record your declaration. Let the universe witness your decision. Because you don't chase validation anymore. You radiate transformation. And the world is about to feel the full weight of what that means. But there's something else you need to understand about this new visibility. So let me leave you with this, my dear friend. You are not invisible anymore. God just uncovered your hidden beauty to the world, and there's no going back. Remember this. Your glow isn't vanity, it's visibility. Your presence isn't intimidating, it's anointed. And your light doesn't need permission to shine. It never did. You've spent too many years wondering if anyone saw you, if anyone valued you, if your life even mattered. But heaven has been watching every moment. Every tear you cried in secret, every prayer you whispered in the dark. Every time you chose love when bitterness would have been easier. God saw it all. And now, He's making sure the world sees what He's always seen, a masterpiece of grace, strength, and divine purpose. You are not alone in this, not for 1 second. God is still working in your life right now, even as you listen to these words. And there's a community here, thousands of us, ready to stand with you, pray with you, and remind you that your story isn't over. It's just entering its most powerful chapter. So here's my question for you. Now that you know what heaven sees when it looks at you, what are you going to do with that truth? Are you going to shrink back into old patterns? Or are you going to walk forward in the fullness of who you were created to be? Before you go, I want to pray with you. Right now, wherever you are, Heavenly Father, I come before you on behalf of every person hearing this message. Lord, you know their name, you know their struggle. You know the nights they couldn't sleep, and the mornings they didn't want to wake up, but you also know the strength you placed inside them, the beauty, the light, the purpose they've been too humble to claim. So right now, I ask you to remove every lie they've believed about themselves, break off every label that diminished them, silence every voice that said they weren't enough, and let them feel, right in this moment, your hand on their shoulder, whispering, "You are mine. You are seen, you are radiant, and I'm not done with you yet." Open doors no man can shut. Restore what was stolen, and let their glow be so undeniable that even their enemies have to acknowledge your hand upon their life. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, if this message stirred something deep in your spirit, don't keep it to yourself. Drop a comment below, tell me what God revealed to you today. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Because somewhere out there, someone you know is struggling to see their own beauty, and this might be the message that changes everything for them. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do that now. This community is growing, and we're praying together, rising together, and reclaiming our light together. You belong here. Thank you for being here. Thank you for trusting me with your time, your heart, and your story. You are loved, you are seen, and your beauty inside and out is finally uncovered. Now go, walk in that truth, and let the world witness what heaven already knows.